Hello and welcome to our Year 13 Parent Information Evening for 2021. The purpose of this evening is to give you a little bit more information about where your children are in terms of their progress through education at Saltchurch Village Academy, and to talk about destinations that they might go on to once they leave us at the end of the school year. Just to give you a bit of context, I want to start by mentioning our Ofsted report. The school was graded as a good school by Ofsted in our last inspection, and our 16 to 19 study programme, that's our sixth form, was graded as outstanding. In particular, they praise the level of support we give to our students, the results we achieve, and the quality of teaching at the Academy. So, to mention results in particular, we're extremely proud of last year's Year 13 cohort, who have now left us. 100% of those who applied achieved their first choice universities. Our recent results in the last 4 or 5 years are excellent and form Red Alps mostly, which is the top 25% of the countries for progress, and we're extremely proud of those results. All of our students in the last 18 months since March 2020 have shown impressive resilience, maturity, and above all, positivity in spite of very difficult circumstances. We'd just like to remind you of the sixth form team, which has changed slightly this year. So your students, your children, will be in Oak House. I am Mr. Hill, the head of sixth form. Miss Hay is the deputy head of sixth form. Hayley is our post-16 advisor, who will be able to help with your destinations. And we have a dedicated team of Oak tutors. Our motto is Mighty Oaks from Little Acorns Grow, because we take the students who are part of the Academy in their main school years. Our Academy logo is 3 acorns, and in Oak House we hope they will grow to be Mighty Oaks. I'm going to pass over now to Miss Hay, who will talk a little bit about rules and routines at the sixth form.
Thank you. So, registration has had an overhaul this year, and we've got some nice cheesy names for each day of the week. So we've got Motivation Mondays. Students will be working in small groups, in their tutor groups, to compete for prizes at the end of each half term, and it's doing a weekly news quiz. On Tuesdays, Target Tuesdays are all about the life skills for once they're leaving SVA. So for instance, in car insurance, finance, pay slips, how to rent a house, etc. On Wednesdays is Wellbeing Wednesdays, so that is about alcohol, drugs, staying safe, so kind of protecting their well-being. On Thursdays, Mr. Hill will do an assembly in the hall with the students, and on Fridays, Fitness Friday, so that's all about keeping the mind and the body healthy. Okay, academic mentoring will continue this year as well. Okay, so your child will meet with their tutor one-to-one to discuss their plans for the future, check are they doing what they need to do in order to get to the next step, to their next goal, and they'll be meeting with them about 2 to 3 times a year, and you'll be emailed evidence of that meeting and details. Enrichment, we think enrichment is really important. So when students are applying to universities, jobs, apprenticeships, it's not just about the qualifications they've gained, but also what other skills do they have? Are they a well-rounded, highly employable individual? So Year 13 students need to do 1 hour a week of enrichment, and they've got a range of activities that they can choose from for that. Uniform is really key. Okay, so they need to wear the black Saltchurch sixth form top, a white collared top, and some smart plain black trousers. So no jeans, no leggings. Okay, if they'd like to wear a skirt, just making sure that it's knee length as well. Footwear is plain black, but no trainers or canvas shoes. Okay, and we want their clothing to be suitable for if they're going for a professional business interview. Okay, attendance and absence, I'll pass over to Hayley, who will let you know more about that. Thank you.
Hello, so attendance and absences are more or less the same as last year. So you're all full-time students, so you know, our minimum expectation is 96% attendance. For planned absences, most of your sons and daughters are very good at this, but we need it 100%. Everybody collect an authorised absence form, things like medical appointments that you can't get outside of school time, driving tests, things where you're just given that time and you can't change it. You collect an absence form, fill it in with the date, get the teachers to put what lessons they're missing, and parent sign it so that we know that you know they're not here for the day. For unplanned absences, please email svaoakhouse@sawtreyva.org. Much better to email that than me directly, because if I'm not here one day, this is checked by everybody in the team. And if you could do that before 8:30, we always need parental confirmation. So if the student does email me, they just need to CC you in so that I know you know. If not, I reply to the student and CC you in. A lot of your sons and daughters are turning 18 this year. Just because they're 18, we still need to know. If they're not here, I need to know that so that I can fill the register in, and I'll contact you if they're not here. So just because they're 18, that doesn't make any difference. I'm still going to worry about them if they don't turn up. And going in and out off site, we do need everyone to sign the time out and time back, just so if there's a fire alarm, we know who's on site and who's not. And study periods, most sixth formers are allowed, year 13 are allowed to go in and out, unless they're not up to date with their work, when we will ask them to stay in school all day until they're caught up. Although obviously if they stay and work in school, that's probably better and get their work done. And the period 5 doesn't affect them. Okay, I'll just hand over to Mr. Hill.
So a big part of the student life in the sixth form is about the work they do outside of the lessons, as we want them to become independent learners. So to talk for a moment about homework. In main school, as you'll know, students had roughly 25 lessons per week if they stayed with us in main school. But at sixth form, they only have around 15 lessons per week, and they have those roughly 10 study periods. That's because they will have a lot of homework to be engaging in. Homework is set by the teacher with a clear deadline, but they must also engage in independent study in order to do well. Okay, it's kind of like ongoing revision all of the time. That's why they have 10 study periods a week. Okay. The total of homework and independent study is between 3 and 5 hours per week per subject, depending on the subject. So students will have between 9 and 15 hours of work to do outside of lessons, and that's why they have 10 study periods per week. Suggestions are there. They might include mind maps, Cornell notes, flashcards, or practice exam questions, but it will vary by subject. And teachers have produced independent study guides to support students, and I've got a couple of examples of those to show you on the next slides. At no point in the next year will your child have no work to do. There's always something to be done in sixth form. It could be homework, it could be independent study, it could be preparing for their post-18 destination. They could need to do work on their university applications, produce work on their CV. There is always something to do in year 13. These are some of those examples of independent study grids I mentioned. Students have had these communicated to them, or will have if they haven't already, to make them aware of what we expect them to be doing with their time outside of the lesson. These exist for every subject. So I want to mention a little bit about the relationship we have with you as the parents. The role of the parent. We want to encourage and foster two-way communication. Okay? And by that we mean if you have concerns about your child's progress, well-being, or anything else, please do let us know. And if we have those concerns, we will let you know. We think it's best if we're all working from the same page. Even if they don't realise it, and very often in the sixth form they don't, they still need the support and guidance of their parents and guardians. They still need your help and guidance to get to their appropriate destinations. We are all working towards the same goal of a well-rounded young person who is highly employable with a quality and suitable career path when they leave us. Now, I want to mention our behaviour policy, which is on here now, okay, because this will involve parents and it has changed slightly this year. So all of our students signed a contract when they entered the sixth form saying that they will attend, they will be punctual and on time, they will behave well, and they will engage with homework and independent study. This year, teachers will log all of that behaviour, any issues, homework issues, behaviour issues onto SIMS, and if students are late, they may end up with an after-school detention. We will monitor that, and teachers may email home if students are behind on work. If your child is routinely behind on work, they will be placed on a head of sixth form intervention plan, and we will take away their free periods if we need to make sure that they're keeping up to date. 8:45 to 3 is the school day, and while students do not have to be here for all of that time, if they're behind on work, we can make them stay here. We want to encourage students to be ahead of their work to avoid that happening. We do still have after-school detentions if they are needed. At these points here, you may receive parental contact if your child is behind or is misbehaving. So we want you to be aware of the new policy. So, aspirations then for our sixth formers and our year 13s. In recent years, we have sent students to Cambridge and to Oxford, and we're extremely proud of our ability to send students to the best universities in the country. We have a very high rate of sending students to Russell Group universities as well. That's the best universities in the country for research. And our students have also secured high-level apprenticeships and employment opportunities as well. And we're very proud of our students who are able to go and work as they leave us, because it tells us that they've become highly employable and well-rounded young people if they're able to go and get work in highly competitive places. So, just to mention some of our alumni for a moment who have left us now. Over here we have some alumni who left us some time ago and what they're now doing. But we also have a few students here who left us this summer in 2021 with their destination. As you can see, there's a range: apprenticeships, a gap year, employment, a range of universities, and a range of subjects at those universities as well. We're very proud to be able to send our students to the most appropriate place for them, regardless of what that place may be. So, in March of Year 12, we introduced students to UCAS, to apprenticeships and job searches, so this has now already happened. We've then given students instructions and time since July to research their post-18 destinations and plans, and put together a first draft of their personal statement, or CV, depending on what their route is. Students should all have done that by yesterday, so our hope is that they will be on track. We will then help them with the remainder of the process, help them to improve those. Students should keep an eye for open days. This is the findandapprenticeship.gov.uk jobs portal. Anybody can access this just by googling gov.uk find an apprenticeship, and you can search, you can just type in a postcode and look for apprenticeships within 20 miles of your postcode, for example. I just wanted to let you know that that's there so that you can begin to research with your child what their options might be. So a quick timeline on apprenticeships and jobs. We've already done this part and we're currently here, where we are researching the level of the apprenticeship and the sector they might want it to be, or indeed, if not an apprenticeship, it may be employment. They should know what level and sector they want to go to. And we've used Unifrog to guide that process this year. We're also in the middle of working with students to prepare a CV and a template covering letter, and we'll continue to work with students on that up to April, okay? And we're guiding them to make their employability the best it possibly can be. From April onwards, we would expect students to be searching and actively applying for positions. And during that time, they may be offered interviews and selection processes, which they will need to attend. Our hope then is that between August and September, our students who are going onto these routes will be able to take up their posts in apprenticeships or jobs. So the question of what can a parent do to help? Right now, we're in this phase here. So you could speak to your students about your children about their research and their long-term career goals. You could maybe even proofread their CV and their template covering letter. Okay? So it's about helping them and guiding them in terms of what they might like to do next. After April of Year 13, you could sit with them and help them to search for jobs and encourage them to look for certain types of job perhaps. And it might be time to consider things like, how will they get to work? Will you drive them? Will they be learning to drive? Will they take public transport? How are they going to pay for public transport before they've started the position? So those are all logistical questions you might need to consider. And all of the basic things students often won't think of, like appropriate clothes for an interview. Those sorts of questions they will need your help with. Then from August to September, they'll take up their post and they will still need your help and guidance because they are brand new to working in a workplace with other employees. They're not used to that. They will still need your help and guidance. I'm going to hand back over to Ms. Hay now, who's going to talk a little bit about the process we use for UCAS and universities.
Okay, so I strongly encourage you and your child to book in for some open days. That gives you a real feel of the university and the course that they're looking to apply for. These sessions often have sessions just for parents, so that's brilliant for you because that gives you an overview of the UCAS process and how best to support your child. Okay, so the UCAS timeline. So currently, your child should have completed the first draft of their personal statement, and that should be uploaded to Unifrog for their form tutor to give feedback on. Okay. We're really lucky that we have an admissions tutor from a university come in and look at the students' personal statements and give feedback. We'll be having 2 sessions of those. Students will be alerted as to when they will be, and they can sign up to get feedback from an actual admissions tutor. It's worth noting that by the 15th of October, early applicants, so that's people applying for Oxford, Cambridge, medicine or veterinary science, they need to have their UCAS applications sent off. For everyone else, we would like their applications to be sent by the end of November. Then it's sent, it's out of the way with, and we can start looking forward to offers coming back in. Offers can come back in quite quickly after initially sending them, so it shouldn't be too much waiting for all of the courses. Application deadline for student finance is usually the end of May, but you do get a lot of information through that, so please don't worry about that just at the moment. You will get information at the time. And if your child has any problems filling in the UCAS form, so if they're not entirely sure of everything, Hayley is your best port of call, so ask them to go and see Hayley and she will definitely help them with that. Okay, so finally, we support all students, whatever they wish to do past 16, whether that be university, apprenticeship, job, okay? So we're not only there to support them with whatever their aspirations are, but also just surviving this 2 years of sixth form. So making sure that we can put study plans in place, we make sure that we're there to listen if there's any issues, along with your support as well. Please don't hesitate to ask if there's any questions, just drop one of us an email. We're always happy to help. Okay, thank you for joining us this evening, and we look forward to seeing you in the future at some point. Thank you.